Hi guys, welcome back to Hearn Family Homestead. I'm Amanda. So we are getting ready to go to the river for a few days, and I just thought I'd show you my garden before we leave. And then while we're down there, we're going to pick some blackberries and probably do some foraging videos. So it should be a good time. The Swiss chard I think is ready to harvest. You can see several of the stalks have bent and the seed heads look big enough to go ahead and cut those. So we'll be doing that, and then I'll hang them upside down and they'll finish drying the rest of the way, and then I can take the seeds off. We've got lots of sunflowers blooming. These are all volunteers. And then we've got our onions over here. They're starting to bulb. Onions have never really done the greatest for me, and I don't expect them to get huge because this was a parking lot before we started, and this is the second garden we've put on it, so it's not super fertile soil, so we'll see how big the onions get. There's some zucchini that I just planted coming up, and some yellow squash. All of the purple potted pole beans on this side are starting to climb up this trellis. These are peppers. This one's a shishito and it's already starting to bloom. And then this one, this California Golden Wonder, has a pepper. These are sage plants and a little bit of dill that volunteered. This is our volunteer winter squash. All this from one little tiny volunteer plant. And it's just sprawling all over the compost pile, both directions. It's looking awesome. I'm not sure what kind of winter squash this is still, but it has really small round fruits that are starting. And you guys, the zinnia is finally opened. They look beautiful. There's a bright orange one in the back there. So pretty. I'll probably let my daughter come out and pick these. This is our patch that we replanted with turnips and beets, with some radishes sown in between. The corn is now waist high. Part of it anyway. This garden's a good example of why plants need sunlight. The corn on the upper side here is taller, while the corn on this lower side hasn't gotten as tall yet. And that's because the lower half of our garden doesn't get as much sunlight because it's shaded from our maple tree. And then this upper half gets a lot more sunlight. The cucumbers are looking growthy. And then right next to it we planted some more dill. This is the matcha that's gone to seed. We'll be seed saving from those. We've got some beets started under the shade of the sunflower here. That should protect them from the sun until they get big enough that they need it a little more. And then we may have to cut this sunflower back just so they get a little more sunlight. There's some kale. Probably should harvest that. I'm so happy about my nasturtiums. They seem to be doing a lot better. They've snapped back. They weren't looking good there for a little bit, but they are looking bushier and greener now. And I have treated them with FPJ, or fermented plant juice. I've done that on all the plants in my garden for 2 weeks now, and it seems to have made a difference. They're greening up really nice and everything's looking more vigorous. So I'll be doing a video on how I make that and how you apply it as well. These are the jade bush beans, and they're starting to bloom. There's a lot of little blooms on this one. These are the Dr. Weike's Roman candle, these two plants here. And there's no fruit set on those yet, but they are blooming, so soon, hopefully. And this one is the early girl. This is a bush early girl, so it's a more determinate. It's setting on really good. I can't wait for those to get ripe. And we've got one of our Bonnie's Best tomatoes setting on some fruit. This is our Brandywine. You can see those potato leaves. They're blooming pretty good. This is another Bonnie's Best, and one right here that's setting on fruit. These are our Hungarian Oxheart, and they are the tallest by far. They put a lot of growth in since the last video. And then we've got the purple potted pole beans interplanted. And they're also getting up there about 2/3 of the way up the trellis. And this guy just needs to be pushed back through. And this is our Silets Bay, I believe, or Glacier. Now I've gotten the two confused. It's setting on fruit. This is a earlier variety. And then this is the other one. I believe this one's the Glacier. Yeah, this one is Glacier. And then this one is the Silets Bay. And then over here we have a few zinnias and lettuce and Swiss chard. This is our strawberry and green bean bed. We filled in the empty spots with some green beans. And the strawberries are starting to get ripe and they are delicious. See some more over there. And these are the sunchokes, almost as tall as the fence there. This is the lavender bed. We did lose a couple of the lavender, so I put an oregano in this one's place. But most of these are doing pretty well. So thanks for joining me today, guys, and we will catch you on the next video.